Exam Prep. I'm Nivedita Raje and welcome again to the session that we actually have been waiting for some time, right? So today we are going to discuss a mock taking strategy, something that everybody needs right now since you guys are taking mocks continuously and it is creating a problem for you and you don't know what to do about your score. It might not be increasing, it might be going down, it might be stuck and you don't know what to do about it. So everything we are going to discuss today in this strategy session. So how are you all? Again, we just met like 2 hours ago. So I hope everyone is all set and refreshed for this mock taking strategy. Guys, now this is extremely important for various reasons. Firstly, because mock is extremely important when it comes to your preparation. Like you cannot prepare without taking mocks. And in case you're doing it, it is a very bad idea. Please don't do it. Okay, you need to be prepared through mocks. The syllabus and the paper, the pattern, everything is devised in a manner that without taking mocks, you cannot score well. Okay, I'm not saying that you might not be able to qualify the exam, nothing of that extreme, but if you want to make your score worthy for a tier 1 college, you need to take as many mocks as possible. Okay, so good evening, good afternoon. How are you all? Okay, so let us start. So this is the agenda of the session. Why should you take tests? When to give tests? Mocks and their analysis. Why is reading important? And things to do, right? So this is the expected paper pattern. Everybody knows this. So we have English language, logical reasoning, legal reasoning, current affairs, know-how, quantitative techniques. So in total, we have about 150 questions. Everybody is aware of this marking scheme, right? So the marking scheme is +1 for the correct answer, 0.25 for every wrong answer. And I've told you time and again that if you are not sure about a question, leave it immediately, because attempting a question in a negative marking paper is never a good idea. You might end up losing 0.25, so just leave it. Okay, leave it for later. Sometimes it happens that in a competitive pressure you might not be able to arrive at an answer immediately, but later on, as the pressure releases, as you ease into the exam, you actually can think of the answer, you can arrive at the answer. So the moment when you seem stuck, just immediately leave it, and this is something that you're going to do in your mocks as well. Okay, practices from the mocks and continue it till the day of the exam. That is how you're going to proceed. Now, why should you take mock test? Now, the main objective of taking mock test is to analyze. Okay, now analyzing gives you a brief idea of weaknesses and strength. Okay, now if you analyze mocks and the score that you achieved, you would be able to figure out why did you perform bad, because you will be able to identify the weaknesses and you will be able to figure out your strengths. Okay, every student has a set of weaknesses and a set of strengths. You might be not good at something, but you might be excellent at something else, right? So what are you excellent at? What are you not as good as on something? So this can be identified only through analyzing a mock test. Okay, so identify your strong areas and weak areas. This is the first thing that you're going to do. Now, mock tests are designed to acquaint you with the online interface as well as the pattern of the actual CLAT exam. CLAT exam pattern is relatively different than any other exam. They give you passages. Now, these passages are, taken from areas which might not be as easy. And the question that can be easily asked without a passage, now they are asked from a passage. You have to read the passage and then solve a question. In a competitive pressure and in an exam such as CLAT, where the time is absolutely not too much, you're anyway facing a difficulty of time and the time is limited and you have to finish the exam. Reading the passages, understanding the passage, comprehending the passage, applying the passage on the question is a long process. But if you keep on practicing the same pattern through mocks, you get familiar with it. You understand how to go about it. You understand what to read in a passage, what to focus on in a passage, and how to do the questions. And that is why you take the mocks. Okay. Many students keep postponing. Now, this is something which is fatal. Many students actually, they don't take mocks until the end of the exam. Like just before 15 days, they start taking mocks. Don't procrastinate. Do not do it. It is not good for your preparation. I'm not asking you to start taking mocks as soon as you begin with your preparation. That is also not a very brilliant idea, because, you know, if you take a mock with a half-baked preparation, like I always say, you will not get a very good score, and this will discourage you even further. So don't do that. But when you are in the middle of the preparation, when you are familiar with the concepts and everything, start taking mocks and take as many as you can. Procrastinating will result you losing valuable time that is left for the exam, and that will again adversely affect your preparation. Now, you can read everything. You can read everything that is given in the syllabus. You can study the current affairs. You can study the legal. You can practice mathematics. You can practice logical. You can practice English. But how do you know that you're doing well? How will you figure out that you've actually understood everything? How do you know that you remember the current affairs and the legal concepts that I taught you? You need to test yourself, and if you keep waiting till the end of the exam to test yourself, that is fatal. That might not result into a great score. So keep on testing yourself as you move further along in your preparation. Even if it is, you know, even if you think I'm 40% prepared, then also take the mock. If you wish to take the mock with not a complete preparation, with half preparation or 30-40% of the preparation, then do not underestimate yourself, because the mock score is not going to be too much. Obviously, because the preparation is not as much. You are not fully aware of the concept. So how will you be able to take the mock? But then taking mocks will give you an idea of what are you able to do pretty well. Like, for example, there is certain mathematical concepts that you haven't read, but despite that, you were able to solve the questions. Why? Because you are good in maths. You are able to remember the current affairs that you read maybe 1-2 months before, because you are good at remembering stuff. So that gives you an edge that I'm good at mathematics. I don't have to work hard in mathematics that much. I'm good at retaining current affairs. I just need to revise them, make notes, and that is enough. Right? Now, similarly, the weak areas where you're taking too much time will give you an idea of what to focus upon more. Right? So that's how you're going to start. What exactly is mock test analysis? Let's understand this step by step. Analyzing does not only mean aiming for a specific score, but a lot of other things. Like what? Where did you go wrong? How many easy questions did you not attempt because you were pressurized, or you deemed them difficult but they were not as difficult? How many difficult questions did you attempt and got them wrong? Okay, and also how many difficult questions did you attempt and spent a lot of time doing that? With which questions should you have started? So basically, mocks give you a strategy. Okay, they give you a strategy. If the questions were easy, but despite that you attempted them wrong, then you are lacking confidence. You're not believing yourself. Improve that. If you are spending too much time on difficult questions, what exactly are those questions? What is the category of those questions? Why do you think they were difficult, and why did you spend so much time? Maybe the concept is not as great. Maybe you're not familiar with the concept at all. Maybe you did study it but forgot because you did not practice as much. You did not think that it was important. What are the questions that you should have started with? If you are in a crunch of time and you end up leaving a lot of questions in a mock, why did it happen? Obviously because you spent too much time on the questions that you attempted. So how can you finish the paper on time? What questions or which section should you target first so that you can finish the paper on time? All these questions are answered when you analyze your mock. This is what we call a strategy, and this is something that only you can prepare. I cannot give you a strategy. There is no uniformity in the strategy. It varies from student to student, because the areas in which you are good and bad at is something that only you know. I cannot decide it for you, right? So based on what your performance is, you will analyze it, you will analyze the points that I gave to you, and then you will figure out the answer to these questions. Through, when you have answered these questions, you will be able to figure out what are your weaknesses, why aren't you able to score as much, why is your score stuck, and how can you improve. And this will create a strategy for you. Okay, now why is there a need to analyze the mock test? Obviously, you need to assess your current level of preparation. When you take a test, okay, when you take a practice test, you know exactly how much you're prepared. If you're able to score well, it means that your preparation is going well. But if you aren't able to score well and you think your preparation was pretty good, why didn't you score as well? The preparation was not as good. You are still lacking in some areas. Figure out the areas immediately. Why did you not score as much despite the fact that you knew the syllabus, that you understood the concept? That means that there is something lacking. You need to figure out what that missing point is. Okay. To maximize your strength and weaknesses, if you are weak at a certain area, the mock will tell you. You're not good at mathematics, buddy. You take too much time, you don't get questions right. Now it tells you that you need to practice mathematics more and more. You're really good at mocks because you're really good at legal, because mocks is telling you that. The mock test told you that legal is pretty good area of yours, you are scoring well, so that means that legal is pretty well prepared. You do not need to work on it as much. But the areas where you are not able to score as much are your weaknesses. Immediately start focusing on them more. Okay, this will give you an appropriate strategy. The weaker areas you will work on more, the strengths you will not work on them as much. This is a very, very simple strategy. There is no rocket science formula. There is no physics, chemistry formula or equations that, where you can factor in different sets and then figure out the answer. No, it's a very simple strategy. Figure out the weaknesses and the strength, because this is not a UPSC competition where despite studying for 18-20 hours, you're still not able to qualify prelims. Okay, there's definitely some strategy that you can come up with. Prepare smartly. If you know you're good at mathematics, don't spend too much time on mathematics. Just give 15-20 minutes to mathematics each day, or 1 to 2 hours a week, and you will be done, because mathematics has less weightage. If you think legal is really good, then do not give legal as much time, despite the fact that it is a lengthy session. Give 3 to 4 days only. Rest, focus on the areas you're not able to score as well in. Okay, avoid repeating the same mistakes. You need to figure out the mistakes that you are making in the mocks. Why are you making the mistakes? You can figure out the mistakes only by analyzing the mocks, by analyzing what questions did you do wrong and why did you get them wrong. Everything is on you. Now remember that this strategy, like I told you, it is variable. It differs from person to person. You might come up with a different strategy. Your fellow student might come up with an entirely different strategy. Okay, so Suryansh has a problem. Your problem is that you're not able to comprehend the passage. When you're losing time, you become nervous and the speed becomes slower. It is not something that only you are facing. It is something that everybody faces. As soon as you think that time is less and the entire paper is still remaining, you get more nervous and you end up taking more and more time. So the ideal strategy in this case is to start with something that you're really good at. Okay, start with GK, for example. Now GK is kind of a section where either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. It's not thinking and deriving an answer from the passage. No. So they are factual or whatever it is. This is the only section that is testing you upon your knowledge only. And the deep knowledge, consortium expects you to have a good understanding of what is happening around you. So if you know it, if you're well versed with it, you can solve the questions. And GK section should not take more than 5 to 7 minutes. Yes, you heard me right. 35-40 questions should not take you more than 5 to 7 minutes, because the answer is simple. Either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. So start with this section first. After you're done with this, start with another section which you think will give you an edge, something which you are really good at. Legal, don't go for legal. You think that you're really good at legal because you understand law. Nivedita ma'am taught me very well. I remember what consent is. I remember what mistake of fact is. But no, attempt legal in the make it your third attempt. Okay, after you're done with 2 sections, then attempt legal. Then you can attempt it efficiently. After GK, you can go with mathematics. Again, mathematics, either you know an answer or you don't know an answer. It's a simple thing. You can spend time, but the questions are not as many. They're 10 to 15 questions, and you should not spend more than 20-25 minutes. Maybe your teacher would say less, but you should have enough practice that you can solve 10 to 15 questions in 20-25 minutes, not more than this. Okay, that is how your prep or your attempt should go. Best book for legal, there is no best book for legal. Legal only comes with practice questions which are provided for by AP Bharadwaj and Universals, nothing else. They don't give you the understanding of the concepts. I think AP Bharadwaj does to a little extent, but how good can you understand from the book is very subjective. Okay. Now, the strategy that works best for you may not work for the other person. That is true. So, you need to keep modifying the strategy. It is not that a single strategy will work through the entire course of preparation. No. Sometimes you can do good. Sometimes you will do badly. Now, why did you do badly? For example, let's say that, you are able to retain January month current affairs, but you are not able to remember anything that happened in February and March. Why is it? Were they more complicated? Did they involve economic business too much and you do not understand economic business too much? So that is something that you need to work on. So you will be able to figure out that these are the concepts in current that I'm not able to retain. So I need to read them more and more. Okay, profit and loss is easy for me, but simple interest becomes difficult for me. So I need to practice it. Criminal and constitution I'm good at, but contract and tort confuses me. So based on your performance in consistent mocks, in consecutive mocks, you will be able to figure out which strategy is working for you. And if you keep changing your strategy, then also it is fine. It is not a hard and fast rule that you need to have one strategy throughout your preparation, throughout the duration. No, you can keep changing it according to your time and situation. For example, if you have boards, you have to adopt a different strategy. If you have pre-boards, don't focus on pre-boards that much. If you have your vivas, your test, unit test, etc., or some function is going on, somebody getting married or something, so you need to come up with a different strategy where you can utilize your time as much as possible, ideally, right? Now, section-wise analysis. The most important part is go through the solutions and explanations that are given to you at the end of the mocks, which BYJU'S does. While going through the solution, check for the following parameters. What? When you attempt a mock test, always start with the section you are most comfortable with. Always start with the section you are most comfortable with. But despite this, do not start with legal. Don't do it. It will consume half of your time. Okay, when you start your exam, you are under too much stress. There is a lot of pressure, and that pressure, my dear students, does not allow you to work as efficiently. And legal requires you to be extremely focused and extremely attentive, which might not be possible in the first few minutes or during the first hour of your exam. It is really difficult. So that is why I always suggest you start with GK. Okay, always start with GK. Figure out why you got the question wrong, whether it was a conceptual issue or a silly mistake, or you got it wrong just because of the lack of clarity. Now, this is something that you have to figure out on your own. Why did you get a question wrong? After you're done with the mocks, figure out the score. How many questions were not right? How many questions did you not attempt correctly? If you did not attempt the question, that means you did not know the answer at all. So look at the answer and try to remember it. Okay, that is one thing. But if you attempted a question but got it wrong, figure out why did you get it wrong. Did you not understand it? Did you not read the passage properly? Was it a silly mistake? Did you choose an answer which was correct according to your knowledge, but it was not correct according to the passage because it was not given in the passage? So this is something that you need to figure out. Like I said, analyze your mistakes. Figure out why you are making the mistakes. Why are you getting the questions wrong? As soon as you identify that, you will not be repeating the same mistake and the score will automatically increase. Okay. Current score is 46 to 60. No, Seema, you can do better. You can do better. How can you get current affairs for the last 1 year? Well, we have a supplement if you are interested. If you are stuck with a question, ask us. Okay, we are always here to help you. We will always help you. You can post your doubts on the BYJU'S portal. You can ask them during the sessions. We will be helping you till the day of your exam and we'll always help you. Do not assume something unless you have clarified it and double checked it with your faculty. Okay, we'll help you as much as you need. Don't hesitate to ask anything. Now, question-wise analysis. After section analysis, check your question-wise analysis and strategize within the sections. Decide the sequence in which you should attempt the questions. That is something that you need to decide. For example, if you're good in profit and loss, but you're not good with simple interest, attempt those profit and loss questions first. If you think you're good in civil more than criminal, attempt civil first. For example, you attempt torts and contract first, but leave out the passages which are from criminal. Okay, because you take time reading them. Just don't attempt that. Attempt the questions that you think you would be able to do without spending as much time. So do those questions first. In legal, you take 40 minutes usually. Well, you need to increase your reading speed, Preeti. That's where you're going wrong. You need to increase your reading speed. Okay. Decide the sequence in which you attempt the question. First, you point or attempt the question which belong from the strong areas which you are really good at. For example, civil law or syllogism or profit and loss or something like that. Okay. Then you go for the questions which you think are easy. Attempt them. After that, you go to less consuming weak areas. For example, if you think you are bad at mathematics or quantitative, but quantitative, the portion is not as lengthy. So after doing this, go to this section. Okay, go to a section which you think is weak in your preparation, but it is not as lengthy, which is usually quants for most of the students. Okay. Then the difficult questions which you think are more time consuming. At the end, you should leave this towards the end. So the questions that you find the most difficult, you should do them at the last. Okay, because when you attempt them at the end, the pressure, the tension is released. You have attempted the questions that you were confident in. So your confidence has increased, you are encouraged and you have the energy to do them. And for all you know, you might be able to do them correctly. That is why you target these questions in the end. If you do them in the first or in the middle, you won't be able to solve them as efficiently. You will be taking too much time. Time will be wasted, energy will be wasted, your confidence will start loosening and you might not be able to do as well in your stronger areas also. That is why leave them in the last. Okay. Quantitative techniques practice questions. Pooja, I wish I could help you in this, but I'm not really sure. Quants is not my area, so I'm not really sure. But you can ask Ankur sir, he'll be able to guide you better. Now, section score-wise analysis. If your score is less than 80, you need to strengthen your concepts. Practice more and more questions. That is the score-wise analysis. This is what you need to do if you're scoring less than 80. If you're scoring between 80 to 85, that means you're good in concepts, but your reading speed is less. You need to increase the speed of solving questions, which can be done if your reading speed is good. So work on your speed. If you're scoring above 95 plus, figure out the questions that could have been attempted. Easy, direct questions from the passages, and use elimination method. Which answer cannot be correct according to the passage? Cancel it immediately. The remaining options would be the correct answer. Let's say that there is a passage in which there's a question, 4 options given to you. Now, according to the passage, or few options will automatically eliminate because they do not fit in the given set of facts. Cancel them. Now you are left with 2 options. Both seem correct. Which is the closest one to the passage? Tick that. That is the correct answer. Using this elimination technique, you will be able to increase your score by 4 plus 5 marks, 4 and 5 marks. You're automatically in the tier 1 college. So focus on that. Okay. Section-wise analysis, questions answered correctly. Most students tend to ignore their strong areas, but there can be a better way to utilize your strength. Check if the solution technique adopted to solve the question is correct. Like, for example, if the question that you solved could have been solved using a different technique in a lesser time. Figure that out. That would save you on a lot of time, which can be utilized to solve more difficult questions, right? Or is it more time saving than yours? Like I said, is your technique better, or the technique that the other person used, or the technique that your faculty is telling you is better? Which is better? Go for the one which works for you, which saves your time. That is the best technique, because CLAT is all about time, guys. Time is too less. Okay. Now, another question that you have to ask yourself each time after taking a mock. Did you spend too much time? Could you have done this question? Could you have done that question in a lesser time? If yes, figure out how can you do that. By reading more, by improving your reading speed, by using pen while reading the paper, by increasing your focus while reading the passage. Whatever method works for you, do that. How can you get, Jagreet, just give me a second, I'm coming to that. Now, questions answered incorrectly. If you have questions that are incorrect, compare your solution with the given one. Why do you think your solution, why did you arrive at that answer? Why did you think that this answer was correct and the answer was not correct? Try to figure that out. Okay. Now, this technique works with everything. So, either you used too much of your knowledge, or you did not solve it properly. So try to figure out why was your answer wrong and why is the other option correct. Okay, this usually works with legal, but it can fit in other areas also. Check what went wrong in your solution. Okay, if the solution technique is the same, it indicates lack of accuracy. You are not as accurate in fitting or applying the principle to the question. You need to work on that. This means you need to work more on your calculation techniques and application of principles. If the solution is different, learn and practice on regular intervals. If you got it completely incorrect because you did not have an understanding of that concept, practice that concept. Okay. Now, questions left unattempted. Try to solve the questions before looking at the answer. There can be 2 situations in which you are not attempting a question. Either you did not know it or you could not solve it because of the time crunch. So try to solve them. Figure out if you could have solved them. If you could not solve them even after the time is over or the mock is done, then you need to work on your concept. But if you could solve them after the time is over, then you need to work on your speed. Okay, that is what it is. Check the solution, design your strategy accordingly. What could you have done to increase your speed so that the questions that you did not attempt could have been attempted? Okay. Now, try out different strategies for every mock. Try altering your sectional attempts in every mock and track your score. Remember, the current affairs section is the make or break session in the CLAT along with quant. Do not leave it even if you are scared. Do not leave it. It will be fatal. It will push you down to the bottom of the pit and it will leave you with a very bad score. You might not be able to get a tier 1 college even if you could. Okay, so do not leave quant. Keep practicing it. Does not require as much effort. You can do it. In current affairs, like I said, you either know it or you don't know it. So the entire set of 35 questions should not take more than 10 minutes. I think you should not, you can reduce it down to 7 minutes if you can, but maximum should be 10 minutes, should not take more than 10 minutes. Okay, quant section can be a boon for a seasoned test taker. Each mark adds to your score, and usually the math section has titters which students often ignore. Like, you know, sitter, sorry. You can solve the question with a strategy. So if you attend the sessions that are conducted on quant regularly, you will be familiar with the strategy to solve the question in a lesser time, and you'll also be confident. So keep practicing mathematics, and that is it. You don't need more in this. There is no understanding, there is no complicated integration, differentiation kind of mathematics. It's a very simple arithmetic which was there in 9th and 10th. Everybody can solve it. All you need is a little practice. Do not fall in the trap and leave out the entire subject. Don't do it. Like I said, it's fatal. So no matter what anybody tells you, if you're not good at math, just leave it. Work on your other sections. No, you need to focus on all the areas including mathematics. Okay. Practice makes you perfect, and you can solve 10 to 12 questions very easily. And if you can do it, very good. Your score will rise. That's the difference between NLS and DSNLU. Students who are into NLS and similar colleges, they do not ignore any section. The sections which students generally do not focus on are quant and English sometimes. You need to focus on English and quants as much as you are focusing on your current affairs and legal. They are equally important. Okay, so work on every section. That is what a topper's strategy is. They work on every section equally. They do not consider any section worth leaving. Okay, they denote time on every section. That is what you also need to do if you want to get into a tier 1 college. Now, CLAT UG merit list. This was the merit list for 2021. All India rank 50 was this score. So if you are above 105, or even if you are above 100, you are sure to get into a tier 1 college. So always target your score to be above 100. Okay. See the difference in the AR and the score. Even a 2.5 mark can create a huge deal of difference. Now the difference is not as much, but the rank, can you see it? That is why don't attempt the question unless and until you are absolutely sure. Just leave it, because this negative marking will push you in the pit. Okay. Now when to take CLAT mocks? 3 to 4 mocks in the month of August. Timing of the mock should be 2 to 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. September you should take 6 to 7 mocks, in target score should be 50 plus starting from 8 to 10 mocks. The first 8 to 10 mocks should be 50 plus. If you're scoring less, the concepts are not great. You need to work more. You need to work harder. 9 to 10 mocks in the month of October, 12 to 14 in the month of November. Target score in the middle, like 70 plus after 10 to 15 mocks. So after you're done with 10 to 15 mocks, your score should be above 70. If it is anything below 70, again, your preparation is extremely lacking. You need to work harder. Target score in the advanced attempt, like after you are done with 15-16 mocks, then your score should be above 90. This is the ideal score. This is what you need to target. Okay, so if you are in the initial phase, if you are getting 50 and less, it is okay. You are still in the initial phase of your preparation, but this is not initial anymore. The August is coming to an end. exam is in December. You should already have taken at least 8 to 10 mocks by now. 8 to 10 mocks means that you are scoring somewhere around 70. If you're not, you need to work harder. Your effort is lacking. Reading is most important. You need to read every day so that you can catch up to the reading speed. The entire CLAT works on the reading phenomena. The greater your reading speed, the efficient your practice or the efficient your question solving ability would be. Everything depends on reading. If you're able to read faster, that means that you're able to comprehend also. Okay. Reading does not mean just, cutting the grass. You cannot do that. Reading means reading and understanding, comprehending alongside. So this can only come with practice. Like you're practicing mathematics, practicing reading also. Okay. Reading skill does not just help you in English section, but it helps you in every section, including legal in every section. If you read and assimilate information like a pro, legal reasoning, logical reasoning, even math becomes easier. Reading quicker, understanding faster, answering questions faster and better. This is the mantra that you need to follow. So read quickly, understand quickly, answer quickly. That is how it follows. Okay. While you're taking a mock test, take it as if you're taking the real exam. This should be your strategy. Number 1. Maximize your score. Do not maximize your attempts. If you maximize your number of attempts, you will be caught in negative marking. So target for a better score, not a better attempt. Answer questions as correctly as possible. Answer the questions that you know. And try to increase your knowledge in reading so that there are more questions that you can answer out of 150. Answering an easy question fetches you the same marks as a tough question. So choose your questions wisely. If you do not know a difficult question, just leave it. Easy question also has the same mark. So attempt that and leave out the difficult. It's okay. It's absolutely fine. Okay. While reviewing the test, review each and every question sincerely, because if you're not doing it, you're not doing yourself justice. You need to do it. Analyze every question, even the questions that you got correct. Analyze those questions also. Could you have solved them in a lesser time with a different strategy? Try to figure out. And this is something that only you can do. It is through strategies and smart work that students get into tier 1 colleges, not, extreme hard work. You definitely need to work hard, but it's not as if you're working as a labor, just studying for 24 hours. No, it will not get you anywhere. Study smartly. Okay, do not ask me how many hours should you denote. Try to study as much as possible in as less time as possible. You cannot sit straight for 7 to 8 hours. Your psychology, your biology, nothing allows you that. So try to be wise. Settle for achievable goals and scores and work accordingly. However, while taking the test, try to maximize your score, like I said. For current affairs, use the BYJU'S prep. Now the person who was asking me, Jagri Arora, what can you do for the last 1 year current affairs? You can refer to CLAT Ignite and the parallel GK CA material that we provide to you. This is a magazine that is designed for CLAT students only. You can take other magazines as well, but they are extremely comprehensive and they are very, very detailed and exhausting. You might not be able to understand a lot of things that would discourage you to focus on current affairs. So go for a magazine that is prepared keeping you in mind. This will be the best source to study your GK current affairs from, apart from newspapers. Complement it with a newspaper of your choice and you are done with your current affairs completely. Okay. The chances of questions coming outside from CLAT Ignite are very low. Trust me. Okay, so we have prepared it keeping everything in mind, keeping your syllabus, keeping your level of understanding and intellect. So refer to this magazine and be assured that if there's a question that is outside CLAT Ignite, nobody knows the answer for it. Nobody knows an answer. How can you get current affairs? I told you. How can you get this? You'd have to log into the portal and figure out. I'm not really sure how do you get it. So if you do this regularly, you will not be burdened with a massive set of material, and you want to avoid it, because if you keep on collecting material and you don't revise it, you don't concise it, you won't be able to revise. And if you can't revise, trust me, you cannot do as well. Revision is again very important. So note down the most important things from CLAT Ignite as well. Do not keep collecting magazines for later. Okay, read the magazines properly. Write down the important information in a concise manner in your own words. That would be your notes. Make notes, very, very important. Revise those notes on a weekly basis. Okay. This goes for every section, not just GK. Take small step every day, far and wide, and put that effort every day so that you can be consistent. Working for 8 to 10 hours one day and taking a break of 3 days is fatal to your preparation. Don't do that. Instead, work for 2 hours every day of the week. Okay, divide those 8 hours wisely. If you're not able to score well in the initial mocks, just remember, Rome was not built in a day. It's a very famous saying. It takes time to develop a practice, develop a strategy, and develop a momentum. So if you keep on practicing, the strategy, the momentum, the speed, everything will come. Okay, just give yourself a benefit of doubt. Be patient with yourself. That is why the motive behind taking mocks is to assist you in designing the most appropriate strategy. That is why we focus and advise you to keep taking mocks, so that you can prepare better and develop something which you require for the exam. Most important, keep revising and practicing the previous mocks on regular intervals. Some students completely forget, thus end up making the same mistakes. So keep analyzing the previous mocks that you attempted so that you know where you went wrong and you don't do it in future. Do not overlook this point at all. Finally, planning is as much as important as hard work. Keep the above things in mind. Do an effective analysis and develop a strategy that works for you. Okay. Always remain motivated and strive to do a little better than the previous day. Be sincere, be incredible. Everything will come to you. The speed, the momentum, the accuracy, the efficiency, and a very, very good score. But again, the key is to practice. Okay. So that's it. There are 5 things to do. You can do this. Daily reading, newspaper, novels, etc. Do GK every day. Never miss a newspaper. Do not give an entire day to JKs, just few hours. Stay in touch with the legal stuff. Practice a lot. Consistent with mock writing. 5 things that you're not supposed to do. Not reading newspapers regularly is something that you cannot do. You need to read newspapers regularly. You cannot get away by not solving maths. You need to solve maths every day, because maths requires practice, and you need to denote as less time as possible in your quant section. No matter how good you are at maths, you're still required to practice. So practice every day. Not giving mock tests regularly, again something that you cannot afford to do. You need to give, or you need to take mocks on a regular basis. Do not panic over mocks. Mocks, after all, are just practice sessions. So even if you are getting less, just prepare. Okay, work on it. Focus on the weaknesses. Try to figure out your weaknesses and just don't repeat the mistakes. Your score will increase. It's not something, it's not a treasure that you are seeking. It's a very simple thing that you need, a score. And score can be achieved, score can be increased if you try to figure out the mistakes and do not repeat them. And that happens when you take the mocks regularly. So even if you are taking the mock regularly and the score is not improving, try to figure out why it is not improving. This is something that only you can do. As soon as you figure out, the score will come out from the block and it will increase, right? But do take mocks as much as you can. Do not panic. Do not underestimate yourself. If the score is low, try to figure out why is it low. Try not to repeat the mistake in the next mock. Okay. Practice as many questions as you can from every section. Do not worry about the difficulty level. It will be designed creating you in mind. You are after all a child, a school student. They will not give you anything you cannot solve. Always remember it. Cutoffs, stop worrying about what is the cutoff. No, you need to score as much as possible according to your own capability. Stop worrying about what the difficulty level is, what the cutoff is. That is something that you cannot predict, you cannot ponder over it, and you cannot waste your time over it. At the end, all the best. Okay, so this is the strategy that I wish to discuss with you. You can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and you can join our Telegram channel. Please like the session before you leave, comment on it, share it, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And I shall see you again very soon with Bilkis Bano Judgment, the editorial of Bilkis Bano Analysis. Till then, keep following us. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Take care. All the best.